Hi, I'm Sam Sterling, Grants Administrator with Child Care Aware Northeast, and this is the Child Care Services Grants Information Slideshow, also known as the Regional Grant. There are two parts to this presentation. The first part explains the grant itself, and part two explains how to apply. Child Care grants provide funds to child care programs to help cover the cost of supplies, equipment, technology, and training. You're eligible to receive one regional child care grant award per year. You may be eligible to apply for an emergency grant. These are viewed on a case-by-case basis and are usually health and safety related. Providers licensed fewer than 6 months may be eligible for a startup grant. Those receiving startup grants may not receive a regional child care grant in the same fiscal year from July 1st to June 30th. Retained bonuses are also available from Child Care Aware, and you can find information for that at www.childcareawaremn.org. Parent Aware is Minnesota's quality rating and improvement system. Programs who volunteer to be rated go above and beyond health and safety requirements. Some of the benefits include having your quality recognized, free coaching and assistance, increased access to scholarships, marketing support provided, and higher child care assistance rates. Programs that qualify for building quality receive building quality grants. After earning your rating, you're eligible for quality improvement grants. There are 2 cohorts a year, starting in January and July. If you're interested in joining Parent Aware, please contact Belinda at belinda.bailey@pine.edu. Any program that is actively providing early learning services to children ranging in age from birth to school age and is currently licensed with the Minnesota Department of Human Services or tribal government or legally licensed exempt, which includes certified centers. If licensed by Minnesota Department of Human Services, a program must have no current negative actions. Licensing violations such as temporary immediate suspension, revocation, or maltreatment determination where the facility was found responsible will prevent the issuance of a grant and or will cause the withdrawal of a grant. And then when and how should I apply? Participants should apply online between September 1st and 25th of 2021, and this is on Develop. Grants will be awarded on November 1st, 2021. In the rare case that a program does not have access to the internet, a paper application is available. Those are due on September 20th, and you can contact me for that. Grants this year, our family child care program is up to $2,000 and a child care center is up to $3,000. If you're awarded, all grants are paid on a reimbursement basis. You'll be reimbursed after purchases are made and verified by me, and the training requirements have been met. You'll be uploading all completed and accurate receipts into Develop, including an invoice form, which will be sent with the award letter. Please scan and upload all documents in a PDF or Word document format, and purchases must be made after November 1st of this year. These are grants, not loans, so you would only have to pay it back if you're out of compliance with grant requirements or you give up or lose your license for any reason within 2 years from the date of your award letter. The requirements for the grant is you must complete 12 hours of approved training. That's from January 1st of this year to March 31st of next year. Meet all grant deadlines. All documents must be uploaded by April 15th, 2022. Keep your child care business operational for 2 years, not refuse families because they are participating in child care assistance program, and use the grant funding for its intended purpose, including culturally responsive purchases as approved on Develop. You must purchase what you requested and no other items will be reimbursed. The items that you can apply for, programs may apply for funds to support childcare. The items selected must fall into one of the categories. When applying, you'll be asked to identify which category each purchase relates to. So there's teaching and relationships with children, relationships with families, assessment and planning for individual needs, professionalism, health and well-being, and requirements. 10% of your total grant must be spent on culturally responsive items, and all those items must be listed in the requirements category, even if they fit into another category. For example, multicultural dolls can fit into teaching and relationships, but they need to be listed in the requirements category. If you don't request 10% multicultural, your application will automatically be denied. I can't emphasize this enough. In the past, this wasn't enforced. The state requires this. If you don't have an expenditure specifically for multicultural items on develop, your grant will be denied. Also, multicultural and culturally responsive have the same meaning for grants. Priorities are set by the Department of Human Services, and the committee members will base their scores on how well you explain and answer how your items match these priorities. So under teaching and relationships with children, materials, activities, strategies, assessment, and curriculum development to promote social, emotional, physical, and intellectual development in all children. For relationships with families, materials that support the mental health of young children and their families. For professionalism, technology items for professional use, including laptops, tablets, desktop computers, and printers. Health and well-being is for equipment and activities that promote health and fitness in your program. And then assessment and planning for each child is for materials that support school readiness, infant through school age in areas such as literacy, social and emotional growth, science, technology, engineering, and math, including assessment support pieces. There's a priority for each category except requirements. So that's why there's 5 listed here, but 6 requirements. And how do you know what category your items fall into? You can refer to your Child Care Aware grant application guide. That will be posted on our website, or you can contact me and I can email it to you. On pages 5 through 8, there are sample items. There's lists of sample items under each category. And then you can also contact me if you have a question. So some items may fit into more than one category and priority area. For example, learning to get along bilingual book set can fall under teaching and relationships with children, relationships with families, assessment and planning for each child, and multicultural. Any multicultural items must go in the multicultural expenditure, even if it fits in another. And when we get to that expenditure page, that will make more sense. So items can fall under different categories and priorities, but put them under each one when you're explaining how they'll be used. That way you get points in multiple priorities. And that's how you get your points, and the higher points are the ones who get the awards. Once you get to expenditures, then you'll use the requirements category. And then why do you have to spend 10% on multicultural resources? Minnesota state statute requires that the Child Care Aware grant program helps provide culturally responsive child care services. One of the ways we do this is requiring 10% of grant dollars to be spent in this category. There's a list of resources to refer to in the guide. Regular curriculum, cribs, dollhouses, etc., are not considered multicultural. So just because it can be used by all children does not mean it's multicultural. So there's some pictures of examples here of what you can use. And why is it important to have multicultural resources in my program? Research has shown that children begin to create ideas about race very early on, typically by ages 3 and 4. For this reason, it's important to teach all children about differences and help them develop individual and group identities based on personal abilities and interests rather than race. This is crucial for children to be able to develop unbiased and successful relationships with others as adults. The types of things you should not apply for, because they will not be approved, are major construction or renovations, religious-based curricula or counseling, consumable supplies such as diapers, wipes, soap, paper products, or office supplies, papers, staples, pens, one-time field trips for children, childcare tuition, items prohibited by licensing, used items, and items considered cost of doing business. Cost of doing business includes the following: accounting and legal fees, advertising, banking service charges, food, insurance, licenses, taxes, rent or mortgage, transportation, utilities. And then how's it determined whether or not you'll receive funding? Once you submit an online application, it will be reviewed by a review committee. Each application is reviewed by 3 review committee members, and a scorecard is used to rate the applications. Funding is awarded to the highest scoring applications. And there's part 2, how to apply. So prior to applying, you'll create a develop profile at www.developtoolmn.org. You'll link your individual develop ID with your program's organization ID. You can only apply for a regional grant in your organizational profile. It can take some time for your profile to be verified by Develop, so you need to start this immediately. The priorities for this year's grants are listed on a PDF available on the Child Care Aware of Minnesota website. So this is the link. I can get you a copy of this PowerPoint, then you can just click on that. It'll take you right to that. It's also in the guide. Requested items should relate to these priorities. You'll be asked to explain how your grant request meets these priorities. Create a wish list. At the end of the guide, you'll see a sample wish list or blank wish list and a sample one. And then you'll fill that out, and that will help you when you go into Develop to actually fill out the application. So create a wish list of items, resources, and or training. Explain how these items meet a priority or priorities. Consider what items you can include to meet the 10% requirement for culturally responsive resources. Include a price for the selected items. Assign a category to each requested item. And it's helpful to have this information available when you begin your online application. The wish list template can be found on the last page of the Child Care Aware Grants Guide, which can be found on our website, or you can contact me and I'll email it to you. Here's an example of the wish list. So there's multicultural board books. The cost is $100. It falls under teaching and relationships. And then the goal is to create an environment that acknowledges human differences and helps children learn positive and appropriate responses to differences. And then your strategy to do that is to add these books to daily story time to expose children to many cultures. And then you can see these other examples below. Then once your wish list is complete, you can download the directions on how to apply for regional grants and Develop. And that's on the Develop page under Guides, and you'll find that how to apply. And this is what the how to apply pages look like. So your individual profile will have a person icon. Your organization profile will have a building icon next to it. So, so you log into Develop with your email address and password. Select your organization profile from the context menu. So you'll see, you'll have the org will have the little house there. That's the one you click on. If you don't see that or need help with that, contact the help desk at support@develophelp.zendesk.com, and they can help you with that. You'll click the quality tab and then the apply sub tab. You'll scroll to the bottom of the page. If you want to apply for a MnTRC grant, apply next to MnTRC option. If you want to apply for a regional grant, click apply next to the Child Care Aware regional grant option. On the first page, update your contact information if needed. Click next when done. On the organization identification page, update information about your program and the types of care and education offered to children. You must answer yes or no to all questions. Click next when done. A pop-up window will appear asking you to confirm that you have entered all relevant identification numbers for your program. If you're sure you've entered everything, click continue. Otherwise, click go back to review your selections. Enter or review the information on the accreditation tab if relevant to your program. When done, click next. And then the program enrollment. Enter or update the number of children your program serves by age group. race, languages spoken, and high needs. Your program will be awarded points based on the age groups and populations you serve. Enter 0 if your program does not serve any children in a particular group, and those percentages will automatically fill, so you don't have to figure those out. Next, you'll be asked about your hours of operation, and there's check marks there for part day, full day. When your program is open and serving children, there's a drop down for that. And then at the very bottom, if you're closed at all during the year, you'll just write in there what you're closed for, 2 weeks in the summer or whatever it is. And then if you're not closed at all, just put NA in there and then click next. Update your physical address or phone number if needed. This will only change the address or phone number for develop. So if it needs to be changed in licensing, you need to contact your licensor for that, and then click next when done. On the participation page, respond to the priority questions. Click the link in the text to see this year's priorities. So right here, it'll say, click here to find out what priority 1 is, or you can look at the guide and see that also. And so you must enter a response for each priority text box. If you don't have anything to enter, just type NA. Priority questions are scored on a scale of 1 to 5. If you type NA, this question will be given a score of 1 by 3 grant reviewers assigned to score your application. This is where you get the majority of your points, so explain it clearly. When you have entered responses into each of the priority text boxes, so there'll be a total of 5 of those for each of the priorities, you'll add your expenditure requests. So this is what you want to purchase if your grant is funded. So you'll click plus expenditure in that little blue here to begin adding your requested items. The expenditures are also called action items in Develop. So if you see that, means the same thing. A pop-up window will appear asking you to enter the details of what you want to buy. So use the grant guide to help you fill in the requested information, including how to group the items you want to buy into expenditure requests. If you need a copy of the grant guide, contact me. So first it'll be category, and that'll be a drop-down menu of the parent-aware indicator categories, or the grant categories. Select the category that best fits the item you want to purchase. Then there's the indicator, and that just it's within the parent-aware category that you select. So you can select the indicator that best fits the item you want to purchase. You can select other if no category fits, or no indicator fits well, or change the category to see the indicators within that category. And then under type, you'll select if the expenditure is materials or professional development. Your goal will be what you hope to accomplish by getting the materials or completing the professional development. The strategy is the strategy you'll use to accomplish your goals, what you'll actually do. And then description of purchase is you'll enter the items you need to accomplish your goal, so the items you want. This should be a list of items you want the grant to pay for from this category and indicator if awarded. Again, follow the grant guide to help you enter. And you'll choose requirements to list your culturally responsive items. And then, so you'll need to group all of your expenditures under each category. You should not have more than 6 expenditures. So any items that fall under health and well-being category should be grouped together in one expenditure. Any item that falls under the teaching and relationships with children should be grouped together in one expenditure, and so on for the other 4 categories. Multicultural items will need to be listed as one expenditure under requirements. This is considered the 6th category. For example, for health and well-being, you may have gates, $25.99, outlet covers, $4.95, car seats, $249, and then under total cost, you'll put $280.93, and the next slide will show that. So here you have the relationships with families, and then it shares information with families. It'll be materials. It's to improve communication with families, and you're going to purchase items to post notices to families. And what you need is dry erase board, magnets, or dry erase markers. And then please add the prices after each item. The grant reviewers want to see that also, so they know if you're asking for something that makes sense and you're not asking for an outrageous amount of money for something that could be gotten cheaper. The total cost, You'll enter the entire cost of all the materials or professional development, including the expenditure request, including tax. The amount requested is what you want the grant to pay for. And don't use commas, just use the digits. The cost of program, that'll calculate automatically. So if the grant is $2,000, but what you want is $2,500, and you put that the amount is, the total cost is $2,500, but you only want the grant to pay $2,000, it will automatically calculate that the cost to you is the other $500. And then the population served, you want to check the boxes to indicate which age group you will use the items, and keep in mind the age group definitions for your type of program. And you must select at least one, but you can select all three. And then culturally responsive, there's a checkbox to check that if the items are culturally responsive. And if you have additional expenditure requests, click Save and Add Another. And then just follow those steps until you've entered all of your items that you want to buy, and then click Save and Close. So here's the example of the total cost of the item, the amount you're requesting, the cost of the program, and then the population served and the cultural responsiveness. And then if you want to add another expenditure, you click Save and Add Another. If not, Save and Close. After clicking Save and Close, you'll return to the participation page of the application, where you'll see expenditure totals and a breakdown of expenditures by population served. You can add a new expenditure request by clicking the blue box where it says plus expenditure. And then on this page, you can check that your culturally responsive total purchases make up to at least 10% of your total grant. You'll see a list of expenditure requests that you've entered. You can remove but not edit expenditures that you've already entered. So you can click the red trash can icon to delete the entire request and start over, but you can't change it at all. The last page is the participation agreement. Please read that carefully, check the box for consent, and click on Submit. You can always go back by clicking on Previous, or come back later to finish the application by clicking on Save and Exit. If at any point during your application you need to leave the process and come back later, click Save. Do not click the Submit button until you're sure you've completed your grant application, because it will submit and you can't go back. When you return to the grant, you'll need to choose Apply Again from your Quality tab. Your grant will not appear with other grants in the list below, since it was never submitted. Be aware that Develop will save most of your information, but you may be asked to enter zeros again where you previously placed them, such as for your the children in each age group. Continue with your application until you've finished all your expenditures. You'll receive an automated email confirming you have successfully applied for the grant. I'll assign 3 independent grant reviewers to review and score your application. And then I'll let you know around November 1st whether your application has been selected, or which is chosen to receive funding, or waitlisted, which means not chosen at this time, but may be chosen later in the current fiscal year. That's usually because we've run out of funds. You might also receive an auto email from Develop with similar information. There's a separate set of instructions that you'll follow if you're awarded a grant. So if or when your grant application is selected, use the guide called Grants Award Instructions for Programs, and that's available on Develop under Guides. If or when your grant application is not selected for funding in the current fiscal year, I'll update the grant to denied, and Develop will send an automated email with this information as well. If you have questions about the grant process itself, please contact me. You can call me at 320-629-5142 or email at sterlings@pine.edu. If it's a question about your Develop account, your individual membership, or your Develop ID, you'll need to contact Develop. So if you have any questions, please email me, call me, and enjoy this grant process.